looks like I am live. I am live, y'all. And y'all know what? I don't have a bit of anything on my lips, but I'm going to have a glass of this juice. All right. Make sure I'm live everywhere. Give me a half a minute. Let me make sure that I'm live. Hey, thank y'all for joining me. I am so super excited to be here. These are Thursday Healing Chats. So for those of you that don't know, I am Tammy Morrison. I go live on Tuesdays and Thursdays with my healing chats. We're going to talk about some things today. If I can get YouTube to go live. It's not wanting to go live. But right now, today, I'm going to talk to you about your spirit helpers and ways to strengthen your connection and embody the gifts that we all have. So we all have these gifts. People, if you're watching me on Facebook, make sure that you're following me on TikTok and YouTube. If you are watching me on TikTok, follow me on YouTube. The link is in the bio because I'm doing a lot more things on there as well. Let's see. Okay, it's still acting crazy. So let me, hang on a second. I'm trying to get YouTube to be up to par with the rest of us. Okay, give me a second. But how's everybody today? As you come in, let me know where you're watching from. That's always interesting to me. I am located in the Pacific Northwest in the U.S. And thank you for the love. Thank you for the hearts and the likes and the gifts, the roses and all that kind of stuff. Because y'all know, if y'all know, I love roses. So even virtual ones I'm good with. Alrighty. So I'm going to talk a little bit. Give me a second. Hopefully this will go. Connect. So for those of you that don't know me, I am Tammy Morrison. I am a spiritual teacher, mentor, and intuitive healer that loves to speak about energy and healing and all of those things. And I'm on a mission to help people to get out of their own way and learn how to not be stuck. And learn how to, learn from their experiences and move forward and create the best version of themselves. So that's a little bit about what I do and what I am in devotion to freedom, healing, and intuition. Thank you so much for the likes and the loves. We're going to talk a little bit about connecting with spirit. So I call it God, source, universe, spirit. You can call it whatever you want because it is whatever it is. There's so many different, I don't know what is wrong with YouTube. It's acting crazy. It's not going live. Okay. So let me try it here like this. Okay. All right. So, I'm going to share a little bit of my journey because that always helps people to understand, where I'm going. So a part of my journey, I actually was raised Pentecostal holiness religion, super deep. I have family members that are bishops and pastors and evangelists and prophetesses and all of these kind of things. And so I have dealt with all of that. Y'all know what? It does not want to go live on YouTube. So guess what? I'm not going to deal with that today. I'm not going to deal with that today. So beautiful. Okay, so here's the thing. I truly believe in divine connection. So I guess today that connection is not divine for me to go on YouTube live right now. So anyway, we're going to share a little bit about spirit connection. And so for me, it was a little bit not too complicated for me to connect with spirit in the way that I have, because I have always had that connection. And so it took a little while. Like, I had a spiritual awakening about 2012, I guess, where I started just really getting to the place where I needed more and something deeper than what my churches were providing. Because at that point, I had left the church that I was with for years, because I wasn't, it's a long story. I don't even want to go into that. I'm just going to say that I got divorced, and I didn't get a lot of love in that way afterwards. And so I was like, okay, this is not, for me, because, to me, when you are in that place, you're vulnerable and and you're looking for love. You're looking for somebody to put their arms around you and just love you. And it doesn't even have to be physical. It could be just in an emotional way. That's what you're looking for. But that wasn't what I got from the church that I had been going to for, I think, about 7 or 8 years. I had basically raised my children in that ministry. So I didn't throw out the baby with the bathwater. What I did was I just moved forward, and I started looking for some place that I could go that would feed me and not, make me feel the way that they made me feel. Will O and I reconcile are the future. I'll dig into that in a second, and I'll share that. I just need to get through this thought before I forget. But I got you, Benita. So anyway, so I was at that space, and I was like, I gotta get away, and I need to do something different. So I did. I went to another ministry that I had been to before. I had frequented. I never joined another one, not at that point, but I did go regular. So I would go most Sundays. Sometimes I went on Tuesday or Wednesday, whatever day they had their Bible study. But I did that, and prior to that time, I had already been in ministry school and all this stuff. And as a child, at about 3 years old, I started laying hands on people. So I already knew that, something inside of me knew that I was a healer. I knew I was a healer, and I knew that that was a part of the legacy that I was supposed to do. Now, fast forward, because what happened is, over decades, I denied that thing. I denied it. And I think that's why I actually went to ministry school as well, because I knew that, it was a part of me to help people to heal. And so I did do that. And so I think that was one of the reasons why I went. Now, I don't regret anything that I've done. I don't regret nothing, because I don't believe in regret. Because I believe that everything, that you go through, you can learn something from. Everything is a lesson. So you can decide, hey, this is what I want to do, blah, 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 blah. The thing about it is, when I read that question, will O and I reconcile in the future, I don't get a positive feeling for that. Matter of fact, I feel like no. I feel like there is always a possibility, but it doesn't feel like that's going to be something you're going to do. It feels like maybe you should open yourself up to some other opportunities. Benita. All right. So anyway, so I was heavy in that, heavy in it. And so when I started going through this awakening, I started just realizing that God was just so much bigger than what the church wanted us to know. It seemed to me that they wanted to keep us so limited, and they wanted to keep God in a box. And I knew that that wasn't the case, because I had experiences with God that I didn't share with a lot of other people. Hey, Boogie Down, thank you for joining. I had experiences that I had not shared with a lot of people. I had a lot of experiences that I was scared to share, and so I didn't, but I did, however, start to do my own research, and I started to look at things, from a different lens. I stopped coloring the lens, because that's what I felt like religion had done. It's color the lens. Now, here's the thing. I believe that, there is a need for the churches. Yes, I do. But I believe that maybe it needs to shift, out of where it is or where it has been, and bring us forward, to the risen God, is what I say. To the real God, to God of our own understanding. Because the thing is, we are so much more than what religion has told us we are. And that is the thing that came to me when I started in this area of, waking up. Is really, waking up to, how big God is, and how amazing God is, and how exactly the living word. And it's like, because people ask me a lot of times, when I talk, they say, well, what church do you go to? I said, well, I go to the Church of the Living God. And what I mean is I go to the church of the God that lives inside of me, because that's where he lives. He, them, her, whatever you want to say. And exactly, can't praise him enough, because to me, I would not be here without God. So a lot of people in, the arena that I'm in, they don't talk about God, or they don't, realize, or they don't want to include God in the mix, but I do. I love God. God is so good to me, and has been. However, I love the big God, not the little God, and not the one that, has all these different rules and regulations on you that have nothing to do with God's spirit. And so, not that God. Not the God. I love the God that wants me to succeed. I love the God that wants me to embody wealth, that wants me to be abundant. That God. Not the one that tells me I got to wait until I get to heaven to get anything. Which I think is a bunch of bullshit. But not that God. Not that God. The God that wants the best for me. Not the God that's up in the sky with a big stick waiting to beat you if you don't do something that they think you should do. Not that God. Not the one that doesn't understand me. You know what I mean? And I truly believe that when we get to that place, that God that understands us, the God that knows us, because there's so much for us. And the more that I get out here and I start learning, and the more that I start talking to people, and the more that I begin to teach this stuff that I know, that I've been knowing, it's like stuff that I knew was in me from a little girl. I mean, I really have been groomed for this, and I know that this is the legacy that God has for me, because this is what my grandmother taught. But she actually even came to me and shared with me that I was the one to take her legacy forward, that I was the one. And I kept trying to push it off on other people, and I kept trying to say, no, it's not me, no, I'm not doing that, because I wanted to just live my little life. I wanted to live my little life where, people are not coming after me on my YouTube channel, for the things that I say, because I know that it's real and true. Not those people, not that person. I didn't want to do that. The person that is speaking life and truth, and other people, don't understand it. Not that person. I didn't want to do that. That was not anything that was within my desire. I was never a person that said, oh, I want to get up. Even when I went to ministry school, I wasn't the person that said, oh, I want to get up and just preach all the time. That was not me. To be honest with you, all of this stuff that I'm doing is outside of my comfort zone. Even speaking and doing the healing chats that I do, and the teaching that I do online, even the stuff that I'm doing in person, because like now I'm doing some workshops and stuff in person, because I know this is a part of what I'm supposed to do in order to get this word out here, because people need to know. People need to know. People have been so manipulated and brainwashed out here, and people need to know. I know you understand, Boogie Down, because it's like you feel that thing within you, and you know that it's there, and you have already, had the seed watered. I truly believe that my grandmother nurtured me in this area. And y'all know what's wild is my grandma had 10 kids. And so I have a lot of first cousins. There's a lot of us. Just on that side alone, I think I have 28 or 30 of us first cousins. And second cousins, there's even more of them, because we all had kids, lots of kids. I think my brother had 6 or 7 kids, and one of my cousins has 7 or 8 kids. So it's like we all had lots of kids. So there's a lot of us. So I have a huge family, especially on that side. And that's just one little leg of it. That's not even considering on my grandmother's side, you know what I mean. On my grandfather's side, he came from something like, it was like 15 of them. My grandmother too. I think they both came from like 15, 16 kids in the family and stuff. So, it's a lot of cousins. Some of them I don't even know because it was so many of us. So, and then so many of us, like I said, are, bishops and pastors and all of this kind of stuff, evangelists and prophetesses and all of that stuff. And when I went to the church, I was called a prophetess too. So I know what that is, and I know, how it feels, because we were raised in the fivefold ministry thing, if anybody knows what that is. But I believe, I believe in all of that. I know that the gifts are there. I just realized that God is so much more expansive than that, so much bigger, so much more. There's all things energy involved in it as well. And so I know that a lot of times people try to take that out of it. And I know this because of a lot of the spiritual leaders that I've studied in the past. Because, for me, I'm a studier. So I started, really reading. I started diving into things and studying and realizing that, so much greater, and they kept so much stuff from us. Yes, the fivefold ministry gifts. Yes, I know all about those. And, so I knew that there had to be something greater, and even though one of the ministries, well, a couple of ministries I went to, they were awesome, in what they did, but they had their limitations, so some things that they just weren't going to talk about and they weren't going to do and they weren't going to share. And for me, I feel like I want to know it all. I don't just want to know a little bit, and you can't just just feed me one scripture and tell me, okay, this is this, like that scripture that they used to pull women, say women couldn't minister and all this kind of stuff. No. I mean, if you read that chapter, the thing is you got to read around the one scripture, and that's the thing people don't want to do, or they just listen to somebody that tells them that. But to me, I mean, go and read around the whole chapter so you can see what the context of it is. And then also, some of those things in the Bible were not sanctioned by God. They were some things Paul said. And Paul was a good man, but he wasn't God. I mean, he was a God of his own understanding. But, some of the things people said, and it didn't have anything to do with what God wanted. To me, it's like, the clothes issue. Now, I've been in churches where you have to put a thing over your head, a dolly on your head and all that stuff. And I never understood that shit. I just didn't understand why we had to do that. What did that have to do with God? What did that have to do with spirit? What does that have to do with all the things on the inside of us? Because here's the thing. Here's the kicker. And this is the thing that I recognize and I realize, that God created us in his own image and in his own likeness. And when he created us, we were naked and unashamed. So if that, stayed in church all day, you got that right. From sun up to sundown, they even fed you in the church. They would feed you in the basement. You go down to the basement if you had a church with a basement, or if it was just a church with a kitchen, you go to the kitchen. They stop, you go eat. You might chill out, and the people that smoked, of course, they went outside and went down the street or whatever and did that kind of stuff. And then, you come back in and you church some more. I remember those days, Lord Jesus. I remember sneaking out of the church when I was young because we wanted to go to the movies. It was an all-day service. So we would sneak out the church one by one. They would tell us, because I was probably like 6 or 7, me and my cousin and some more of us, we would sneak out, and they would tell us, okay, look at the clock, and when the hand hits blah, 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 you leave. And then when the hand hits blah, 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 you leave. And that's how we did that thing, so we could sneak out the church, so we could go to the movies, because, we just always was at church. And so, anyway, oh God, what was I talking about? But I'm just so grateful, to be able to be in this space where I am comfortable with who I am, and I'm comfortable with God, with Source, with the universe, with Christ within me. I'm comfortable with all of that. And I am comfortable of acknowledging my spirit team, because that is the thing. It's like, once you begin to acknowledge them, you know, and we've all had angels all around us, you know, and a lot of times, you know, kids will have, what do they call them? Imaginary friends. And sometimes those are their angels around them. When grandma looked over the top of her glasses, you ain't never lied. I never had that because I was not that kid. Because my grandma was like not, she would never ever, you know, whip anybody. But she would look at you. She would look at your ass and you knew. You knew. So you didn't have that problem. But, you know, the thing about it is, I didn't like that. You know, I was not a child that got in trouble. Whatever the hell they told me to do, I did, you know. And then plus, like I said, I was that child that I lived with my grandmother for a few years, well, quite a few years. And so I got real close, and I actually was like her road dog. So I would go with her. She would go to different churches and run little revivals and healing services and all this stuff. And I would go with her, and we would go there, and she would, you know, lay hands on people. And I tell you what, the miracles that I saw growing up made me know that God was real. But you know what I noticed is that you see less of those now than you did back in those days. Now, for me, let me see. I'm gonna tell. I don't have a problem sharing my age. I'm 54 years old, almost 55. So that was, you know, 40 some years ago that I remember that so clearly. And it did something to me. But you don't see that hardly no more. You don't see that in the churches anymore. They don't even hardly do healing services like that. I mean, they did healing services, and they did the things where they would wash people's feet and stuff like that during the communion or the Pentecost. I can't exactly remember how they did that because I was real little when that stuff was happening. But I remember they would wash people's feet and stuff like that, you know, and it was just the most interesting, you know, thing to see and experience. And I know that was stuff that they got from, you know, way back when in the Bible and all that stuff. But, you know, a lot of things they did, because I truly believe in not throwing out the baby with the bathwater, you know, because I don't do religion. It's not, to me, it's like, you know, just because you don't do religion doesn't mean you don't do God, or just doesn't mean you don't do spirit, or you don't believe in the creator, all that kind of stuff. The ushers were a trip. The ushers were a trip. The ushers was a trip. They did their job. They made sure they kept law and order. They would pop your behind in front of your mama, your grandmama, whoever. And then you know what would happen after you got home, and you get your behind popped by them for the other people having to pop you. You know, we almost really need that back these days with these kids, because they're different, you know. But you know, they're kind of gentler. It's a kind of gentler society, and they're raised, you know, way different. And you know, one of the girls, even on TikTok, I saw, she said, you know, these kids can't take nothing, and that's the truth. They can't take nothing, and you gotta be real, my granddaddy would say, particular with them, you know, because they just, oh my gosh, just something, you know, like they used to tell us, quick, fast, and in a hurry, get over it. I remember that when I was like in high school, and, you know, I started going out and stuff, my mom would say, okay, you could go out and everything, but, you know, we leaving for church at 8 o'clock in the morning. So you can decide what you're going to do. But what you better do is get your ass home and be ready to go and in the car by 8 o'clock. Or 7 o'clock, whatever time we were leaving for church. Oh, that was a mess. That was such a mess. But it was so good, you know. When I think about it, you know, when I think about those times, you know, but it's almost like I feel like it was time just to grow up and realize that, you know, hey, God is good. He's amazing and he's awesome. And, you know, but we don't have to wear the doilies on our head. We don't have to wear long dresses to our ankles, you know, because, I mean, I'm 5 feet tall. That just does not, it's not a good look for me. 5 feet tall and solid, so I'm not, it's not a good look for me to wear anything down to my ankles unless it's a formal dress. You know, I just don't do it because it's just, it doesn't look right on me. But I don't think they took that into consideration when they were making those rules. But anyway, yeah, so just, you know, I'm going to probably get off of here because I didn't mean to stay really, really, really long. I just wanted to just come on here for a few minutes and have this healing chat because I love to do it. I also want to do a little meditation before we get off here. And it's going to be, it's a meditation to assist you. It's going to be a guided journey, and I'm going to talk about it in just a minute. So if you have time and you can, you know, stop in, you know, close your eyes and all this stuff, you're so welcome. You're so welcome. I appreciate you, Boogie Down, as well. Thank you so much for joining. Boogie Down Bronx. I told my husband about you because he's from Brooklyn. But we're going to do a little, I'm going to do a little meditation to help you to connect with a spirit helper. Because, you know, the thing is angels are all around us. And they're there for us. You know, but they're not going to do anything, again, unless you speak and you ask. So this guided journey is going to come to you as something you see, sense, feel, hear, or just know. So however you get information is going to be beautiful and perfect for you. So you can just relax. Just give me a minute and just relax. This is going to be a couple of minutes, but I just want to bring this to you so that you can relax. And if you are watching it on TikTok and you want to come back and watch it, I don't think they have the replays available. I don't know, I got to do some research on that. But I don't think the replays are available on TikTok, but I do have it. I will have it on YouTube. Hopefully, if I can download it off of Facebook. Because I'm on Facebook, but I'm actually in my group on Facebook because I wanted to start doing that for them. But just get in a comfortable position. You can lie down, you can sit up, you know, however, what is comfortable for you. And then I want you to close your eyes. And then bring your awareness to the tips of your nostrils. Notice the air passing through your nostrils and traveling down into your lungs. Breathe in to the count of 4. Hold for 4. Exhale for 4. Hold for 4. In for 4. Hold for 4. Exhale for 4. Hold for 4. In for 4. Exhale for 4. And then repeat this breathing practice 5 more times. 4. Hold it for 4. 4. Hold it for 4. Exhale for 4. And then let your breathing return to your normal rhythm. As you continue to breathe normally, call golden light into your heart. You can see it, feel it, hear it, or just know it's there. From this moment on, surrender to your way. And most important, trust how everything is happening. Allow the golden light to gently fill your heart completely. Your spirit helper, also known as your spirit guide and or helping spirit, who is already connected to you, experiences the golden light in your heart as an alert system. Your spirit helper knows you are getting ready to work with it, to empower all you are doing to restore your health. Now that the golden light has filled your heart, it begins to extend outward into your body, shifting everything it touches into the highest vibration for spiritual connection. Take your time and notice how the golden light continues to expand inside you until it fills your entire physical body. Now see, feel, or just know the light inside you expanding even more. You easily and effortlessly surrender to becoming light, and without effort you become a radiant star. You emit light that shines all around you, flooding your personal energy. Field known as your aura. You notice the light around you extends 6 feet in all directions. It goes through whatever you are resting on, through the walls, through the floor, and so on. Surrender to the intensification of the light within and around you. Rest and surrender until you feel yourself floating, as if you're suspended in space. Now think to yourself, I would like to meet my spirit helper who is waiting to guide and assist me in my quest to attain wellness. Keep in mind that this is a wonderful moment for this guide. It has been lovingly waiting for you to realize it is there to help you. Thinking and feeling from within yourself, send out your formal summoning call to your spirit helper. You can either call with your mind, with the whisper, or in spoken words. I ask to meet my spirit helper, and I thank you in advance for revealing yourself to me. I ask you to please come in the best way possible for me to experience our meeting. Helping spirits can hear you even if you don't speak out loud. As you wait, it's possible you may experience brightness coming through your closed eyelids. Whether this happens or not, simply ask, where's the best place for our meeting? Feel yourself surrounded by love, warm and safe. Notice there is golden cord connected to your physical body. You can't see the end of it, but that doesn't matter. It feels so wonderful to know that this golden cord can take you to your spirit helper. Take a deep breath. Let go and feel yourself traveling upward on the golden cord or light, surrendering to its beauty as you rise higher and higher. Allow yourself to have this exquisite experience. You are traveling without effort until you see, sense, feel, or just know yourself passing through a mist. You come out of the mist and find you are sitting on a higher peak, surrounded by a sky full of stars. It's beautiful beyond words to see all the glittering stars, and the wonderful feeling you have lets you know that you are recognized and loved in this sacred place. Allow yourself to enjoy the feelings of belonging and wholeness. You notice a softly glowing orb of golden light moving towards you from between the stars. The orb grows larger as it approaches. It comes to rest before you and forms into a shape that perfectly represents your spirit helper. This is a personal experience that has no need to match anything you've ever been told to expect and does not mimic anyone else's experience. This is for you and you alone. Spirit helpers know just what you need in order to feel comfortable in their presence. Allow yourself to see, sense, hear, feel, or just know that your spirit helper is present before you. Take as long as you need. And when you feel ready, welcome your spirit helper in whatever way feels comfortable, with a nod, a hug, a handshake, and say thank you for coming to meet me. When you feel ready, you can ask, what is your name? Keep in mind, it may either give you its name now or wait until a later time if that is best for you. And then ask, how may I connect with you when I need you? And then you can ask, how will we work together? If there's anything in your heart that you need to have answered, feel free to ask it now. And then stay in this experience for as long as you feel comfortable. When you are ready, allow your spirit helper to cradle you in its arms, hold you in its light, or perhaps wrap you in its wings, whatever is appropriate. It holds your precious life and comes with you as you begin to follow the golden cord back to your body. When you are just above your head, your spirit helper releases you and you gently re-enter your body through the crown of your head. You notice your spirit helper is still with you. It is kneeling before you, holding your hands. Say thank you once more. And then stay in this experience for as long as it feels comfortable. And take a deep breath. And when you are ready, come back to time, space, and write in your journal as much as you can remember of what happened. If a name was given to you, the next step is to do an internet search of the name of your spirit helper or angel to see if it has special meaning. If you weren't given a name, ask for the name again now that you are back in time and space, and let your spirit helper or angel know you are open to receiving it whenever it is most appropriate for you to know. You can be sure that it will be given to you at the proper time. So now take a deep breath and release. And thank you so much for joining me for that meditation. I hope it was helpful for you. And I want to close this by just letting you guys know that I do personal healing sessions. So if that is something that you are looking for, I actually have a 6-week program that I am doing called The Journey to Radical Acceptance. Let me get a little bit of my juice. And y'all, it's juice, but it's in a wine glass because I wanted to feel opulent today. So, but it is 6 weeks, Journey to Radical Acceptance. It is every session, of course, we're going to do a journey meditation just like the one we just did. But I'm super, super excited. Oh, you are so welcome. Boogie Down, you're so welcome. And much love to you as well. But I'm super excited to bring this to you. But it's a 6-week journey to radical acceptance, diving into who you are, your spiritual gifts, your sacred archetypes. I'm going to do DNA activation on everyone that comes through. And this program is in the beta, so it's like super cheap right now. But I'm looking for people. We're going to start in May. For 6 weeks. I'm super, super excited about it. I wanted to start in April, but I have a trip planned, and so I don't want to, I don't want to be stopping and starting if I don't have to do that. So we're going to start it in May. So if you're interested, you can DM me for details. We can have a chat about it, or whatever. I also do personal healing sessions, so like one-to-one sessions if that's something that you need. I also have a healing hub, which is my healing membership that I'm finishing up the creation of. Actually, I've already got it started. I'm just making the website for it. But it's called the Healing Hub, and we're gonna do weekly healings in there. And somebody in there is going to have an opportunity to win a one-to-one session with me every month. So it's gonna be a different person. So like just for being a member. That's something that I'm giving, a one-to-one healing session with me every month. So if that's something that interests you, because the Healing Hub, I'm looking for founding members, and it's like really, really cheap. It's $33 a month is the number that I got from Spirit to offer for founding members, and that will guarantee you for life. I mean, it's not going to go up on you or anything like that. So even if the price goes up, which it probably will, you're going to continue to pay $33 a month. So that is something. You also have access to me through the chats. So that's something that you're looking for. Join me there. Send me a message and we'll talk about that. So I have those are a few different ways that you can work with me. I also have lots of healing stuff right here on TikTok. I have a lot of meditations and healings and things on YouTube, on my YouTube channel. You can find the link in my bio on TikTok. On Facebook, it's going to be in the description of the video. I put the link to my YouTube channel as well as TikTok because I'm on both of those platforms more regularly. So super excited for all of this. And if you would like to have a chat, you are coming from deep religion and you would like to have a spiritual chat and see if there's a way that I can help you to step into your power and own your gifts, and understand some of that, because there are a lot of things that are similar in the spiritual and the religious, but I truly believe that the spiritual opens up even more. So there are things that are similar. So there's no need, like I was sharing with a friend earlier, to throw out the baby with the bathwater. There were some things that were good that we learned in religion, and we bring them and incorporate them because it is a part of our life. It's almost like throwing away things, that happened in the past. You might want to throw away some situations, but there are other things that happen that you want to bring forward with you and integrate into your life now. So if that is you and that's something that you are dealing with, reach out to me. We can have a conversation, a chat. I can give you some resources and some tools, all of that. So if those are things that you're working with or dealing with, reach out to me and share, and we can go from there. Send me a DM on. You can send it on TikTok. You can send it on Facebook. You can send it on Instagram. My Instagram is I am really Tammy Y Morrison. On TikTok, it's in the bio. But on Facebook, it's I am really Tammy Y Morrison, because my page was stolen last year and they would not give me back my name. So I had to say I'm really, because I got pissed off. I got pissed off that somebody stole my page that had 20,000 people on it. But anyway, everything happens for a reason. I truly believe that, and I know that, God opens doors for us, especially when we surrender. When we make up our minds and decide that, we're going to surrender and we're going to let shit go. Because sometimes that's what we have to do. We have to surrender and we have to let shit go. Sometimes we have to surrender our ego. Sometimes we have to surrender limited beliefs that we have had. But there is a place where once you surrender, then doors really can open for you, because it's like you have taken off the padlock from the gate. You take off the padlock so then cars can come in. So you take off the padlock and then downloads can happen and your life can change and magic can happen in your life. So if this is something that, you are looking at and you are wanting, reach out to me. Send me a message. It could be something that I could help you to shift in order to invite the magic into your life. Because I'm telling you, when I began to surrender and shift, the magic was able to come into my life. That really was the key. So again, thank y'all for hanging out with me. I really appreciate it. I will definitely be back on again. I'll probably be back on tomorrow. Maybe on TikTok, I'm sure. But I'm typically on Tuesdays and Thursdays for Tuesday and Thursday healing chats on Facebook, YouTube, and TikTok. I'll be on tomorrow with my co-partner, Latasha Jimerson, Coach LT. She's a book coach, and we talk about healing and sharing our stories, and we get real, raw, and vulnerable. And we do this on Facebook Live tomorrow, 10:30, right? Yeah, 10:30. 10:30 we come on Facebook Live tomorrow with those healing chats, which are so amazing. It's also going to be on my YouTube channel because I want to post them there because, you know, they're so good, and they're unscripted. So we come on and we just talk about things that we experience and things that can help people, you know, to, you know, that can understand that when you share your story, there's healing there. There it's healing. And we have talked about things that many times we've not talked about in these platforms before. You know, we've talked about things that maybe we held close to us, you know, and we're sharing and being real, raw, and vulnerable because we want to help as many people as we can to open up and begin to share. Because like I said, she is a book coach and I'm a healer, and so we thought we might come together and try to help people, because we know, just because both of us have used writing to heal, and we both have healed through the writing process. For me, so I wrote this book. This was my first book that I wrote. There's me right there. So this is my first book that I wrote, and it was a healing journey for me because I don't know if you can see the name. It's called Unchain Me Mama, Lessons Learned on My Journey to Healing and Restoration. And so for me, it was a healing journey because it helped to heal the relationship that I had with my mother that was pretty much non-existent. You know, I had really just kind of written her off and just said, I can't be bothered with it because she was just toxic in my life at that time. And so I had written her off, but I wrote this book, and I talked about her, and I shared with her, and I told her, you know, that I wrote it, and I told her why I wrote it, and I told her I wasn't asking for permission because I wasn't. I didn't give a shit what she thought. I was going to write it because I knew that it was something that I needed to do. It was for me. And so that was a part of the healing journey with writing. And this one is the book that I wrote. It's my story. And it's still available. You can still get it. It's still available. You can still get a copy. You can get it on Amazon, or you can get it from me if you want an autographed copy. But that is my story that I wrote about my ex-husband was in there because, you know, he was a large part of it because I was married to him for 20 years. And so I wrote that story sharing because I wanted people to know that you can go through anything and still be a beautiful human being. You do not have to allow things that you go through to change you and make you somebody that you're not, you know, and make you bitter, make you evil, and make you have unforgiveness and all of these things that cause disease. And so I wanted to share this because I wanted people to know. I wanted people to know. Because I don't know if y'all can see that, but it says winning the war against shame, abuse, AIDS, and abandonment. And those are things that I dealt with. Those are things I dealt with. Because to this day, my ex-husband has dealt with AIDS. And I believe in God because I believe in God because I am not, you know, and you know, he found out when we were married, I think we were married about 12 or 13 years by the time he got that diagnosis. And so, you know, I dealt with that with him, you know, because we didn't get divorced right after. That wasn't even the reason why we got divorced. I didn't think. But I'm grateful that we did because I was ready and I needed it. It's a whole nother life. But yeah, so I wrote those stories and they actually helped me to heal. I know that they helped other people because I got so many different reviews. I mean, people shared that, you know, even though they didn't go through that particular thing in their life, some of the things that they went through that were similar and stuff, it made them think and made them realize that, yes, they could continue to keep going. Yes, they can continue to move forward in their life. No, they don't have to stay. Thank you so much for the gift. I appreciate that. Thank you for joining, girl. I actually been trying to find you because I heard you had a shop somewhere. Send me a DM, please, girl. Please send me a DM. I think, am I following you? Yeah. Wait, am I following you? Yeah. Okay. I was just making sure. Send me a DM, girl, and let me know where you are, because I heard you had a shop. We need to have a conversation. So anyway, yeah, so those are things that we talk about. Awesome. Thank you, girl. Appreciate that. Those are things that we talk about on this Friday live that we're doing at 10:30 on Facebook Live. It's going to be on my page probably, and also on Latasha's page. But we'll put it out there because these are things that, I wanted to do. No, I'm getting ready to get off. I'm not going live with anybody right now. But I needed to just, but we need to do that. I'm getting ready to get off. I'm sorry. Because I got some other things to do and I have a 5 o'clock appointment. But anyway, but those are some of the things we share. So if you guys want to join us. We're trying to figure out a way to do it. I don't think she has 1,000 followers yet, so we can't do live on TikTok yet. But it's coming, y'all. It's coming. So y'all make sure y'all following Coach LT. So we can get her to 1,000 so we can do it live on TikTok too. But super grateful. But you can also, like I said, you can go on my channel on YouTube and go on there and you'll find, I think we've done 3 shows so far. I think it's 3 because we just started, y'all. I mean, this is something we just started and we are absolutely loving it, because what we desire to do is we desire to do a program where we are where she is helping people to write their books and I'm helping them to heal in the meantime and in the midst of it. So that's something that you want to be on the lookout for as well if you are wanting to write a book, because we know that process is not just about writing. It's so many things involved in that process. Because for me, I'm gonna tell you the truth, this book right here, I channeled this book. Channeled it because I wrote it in 30 days. 30 days. And that typically is how I write. So once I get in that space where I can do that and I'm in that creative vein, yeah. But we know that everybody is not there. And we know that everybody, can't quite do that. So again, thank y'all for hanging out with me. I absolutely enjoy this time. Oh, girl, yes, I am. Yeah, okay. We'll talk, because I am so looking for those things. Because I actually am doing some stuff in Tacoma as well. So I'm absolutely loving that. I cannot wait. I'm so excited. So anyway, thank y'all for hanging out with me. And if you are on Facebook and you want to follow me on TikTok and YouTube, the description is in the link is in the description of the video. Because I wanted to put that there to make sure that everybody had it. And if you're on TikTok, follow me on YouTube. It's in my description, in the bio. And I think it's something else in the bio too. I can't remember right now. But anyway, check the bio and go in there and follow me on YouTube. Instagram if you want to. I don't honestly do a lot on Instagram because Instagram doesn't really give me a lot of love. So I don't waste my precious time there. Much, but I will try to I do try to go and look at the DMs and stuff like that in case that's where people like to hang out. It's just not one of my spaces. So I don't hang out there honestly because they just don't give a sister a lot of love. So I don't, and right now I'm maximizing my time in my spaces. So depending on, that's why you'll see me certain spaces, you'll see me on YouTube, you'll see me on Facebook and on here, and so I kind of maximize my time in those places. And all the other places I kind of post a little random here and there, but if they don't give me no love, then I don't have time to deal with that. I don't, because I'm on a mission. I am on a mission to help this world to heal. We got to heal, y'all. We got to stop shooting up our damn schools. We got to stop killing people in the street. We got to stop all of that. We got to begin to really learn how to love. And we got to start with ourselves. Especially my ladies. Especially my ladies. Because so many times our ladies will love every single body else, and they won't love themselves, but they'll love everybody else, y'all. And we gotta stop that. We gotta begin to love ourselves. And when I say love ourselves, I mean love yourself and treat yourself kindly, just like you want to treat other people. Let's treat ourselves in that way, y'all. I'm telling you, it's going to change lives when we do that. You know, treat ourselves in a kind way. Why can't we just do that? You know, I feel like Rodney King. Why can't we just get along? Y'all didn't see that coming, did you? Why can't we just get along? Why can't we just get along? Why? You know, and that's the mission. That is the mission. All right, so at risk of being like the preacher, I'm gonna get on off here, and I will talk to you guys another time. Like I said, you look out for me on Tuesdays and Thursday healing chats, pretty much always. And Wednesday nights, I'm on Facebook Live with my partner Megan Marie, with Ebony and Ivory on spiritual growth. And then Fridays, I'm doing Talking Shit with Tammy T and LT. As a part of it's going to be on my show as well. And then also I do Sunday service with the Morrisons with my husband, Mr. Morrison. And we come and we share, you know, parts of our life. And we share things that, you know, people need to hear and that we want to talk about. So if there's also something that you want us to share as a couple, because we actually love to do that, we are on a mission to inspire other couples, you know, to come together and to, you know, learn how to, you know, be with each other and be in love, you know. And that's something that, you know, we love to do, you know, and that's a part of a mission that we didn't even know we had. But since we started, we've been inspiring other couples to come on and share as well. So that's something that we do, and we do that on Facebook, TikTok. Matter of fact, we do it on his TikTok channel and my TikTok channel. And we do it on YouTube and Facebook Live on. Yes, that is so awesome. She said, I feel I'm in my first healthy relationship and I'm learning to keep it that way. Yes, I agree. I understand that. Because I feel like that about this one that I'm in. I feel like this is probably the first healthy one that I've had, you know, and I'm 54 years old. So I'm like, oh my God, how does that work? You know, why is it that, you know, I had to wait till I was in my late 40s in order to have a really good relationship, you know. And so that's one of the things also that I want to speak to women about, learning how to, you know, love themselves. Because honestly, I believe I did not love myself for many years. You know, I believe I loved my children. I loved my husband, you know, because I was married. I got married at 19 the first time. So when I think about that, it's like, I didn't know who the hell I was. And then I was somebody's wife. And then after that, I was somebody's mama, you know, and now I'm somebody's grandma, you know. But I believe that's something that we definitely need to teach our young ladies, you know, how to love themselves, you know, more than they love anybody else. You know, I truly believe that once you do that, because here's the thing, once you begin to learn how to love yourself, then you can attract the love that you're looking for. You know, you can attract it, you know, because it's here for us, you know. Because here's the thing, you know, you are what you eat, from your head down to your feet now. I mean, but you begin to attract that what you are, is what I'm saying. So like, you want love, then be love. You know, learn how to love yourself. You know, love yourself. I'm just, the more I study, y'all, because I've been studying, I don't know, probably about 10 years now, I think. But I've been studying, and the more I study, the more I learn that most of these things are about love. Because, you know, the Bible says that love is the principal thing. And y'all know what? That's true. That's true. Because if you don't love yourself, can't nobody else love you. Can't nobody else love you. So when you learn how to love yourself, and if we can begin that way, and if we can teach our young ladies that, then I believe that that so many more relationships will be healthy. You know, people will have healthier relationships, and you won't have to wait until you get in your 30s and your 40s to have your first healthy relationship. You know, because that is just super fucking scandalous, y'all. What did they say when we were kids? Super fragilistic, whatever, adocious. But that's what it is. It's like, oh my God, you know, why do we have to wait till we're in our 30s and 40s to have, you know, good relationships? Why? Because we weren't told how to love ourselves. You know, and it's not your mama's fault. She didn't know. She didn't know, because many times they were the same way. You know, they were involved in the same shit. It was the same shit. It just go on and on and on. But now it's time to break that cycle. It's time to break those karmic loops, because that's what the fuck they are. It's time to break those cycles. It's time to break those patterns. It's time to break what they call them, generational curses, and let's have generational blessings. It's time to break those things. You know, because here's the thing. A lot of times you blame, you know, your mama, you blame your daddy, you blame your grandparents, you blame these people and all that stuff. But y'all know blame is one of the lowest vibrations that you can have, because it serves no purpose. I mean, zero purpose does blame serve. None. None. It don't matter. It don't matter. You know, because it doesn't solve any problems. It doesn't fix anything. There are no solutions to it. So if we can just learn how to love ourselves, you know, and give ourselves love, you know, and here's the thing, y'all, and be faithful to you. You know, if you say you're going to do something, do it. If you say you're going to go somewhere, go. Now, if things happen, pop up or whatever different, because, you know, life. You know, sometimes something happens that's outside of your control, and you can't go and do the thing that you said you're going to do or whatever. But, you know, follow up on it. You know, tell the people that, you know, oh, I'm not going to be able to make it. Don't just ghost people. You know what I mean? So show love to yourself in that way, by being faithful to you and being consistent to yourself. Because when you start being faithful and consistent to you and love on you, then the love that you are looking for will show up. I guarantee it. I know that works, because that is what worked for me and many other people, because I actually have studied people that worked for. You know what I mean? It works, y'all, but you got to work it. You know, you got to work it, and you have to realize that, you know, basically time is an illusion. It really is. It is an illusion, because I feel better today than I did probably when I was in my 20s. I really do think so. You know, at 50, almost 55 years old, I feel better today than I did when I was in my 20s. So many things have happened in my life to move me forward, you know, and I'm just super excited about that. And I'm not going to stop talking about it, because I know that it's possible for all of us to feel that way. And I want that for all of us. You know, I have desires. I also have a meetup, y'all, I forgot to mention. I have a meetup, Sisters in Circle Immersion Experience, that I do, that I'm doing virtually. So for anybody anywhere all over the world. And so I'm super excited about it. I'm going to post actually about my meetup. I think I'll put a link in the bio on TikTok, so that, you know, if you click on it, you can go on there and join if you want to, because we're going to be doing virtual circles and stuff. And, you know, I want to do some different type of trainings and things like that. I'm so excited about the now and the things that the downloads that Spirit has given me in order to open up the doors to this type of community. So that's something that you're looking for. You're female, you know, because it's for females or ladies or people that identify as women. Join us in this virtual meetup. You know, it's a meetup, so yeah. Anyway, and we'll be doing some virtual things, and probably I'm going to do some local things as well, which I'm already doing that. But this one is it's a virtual circle, so we'll be doing virtual circles, and I'm super grateful for that. So if you want to join me there, like I said, I'm going to drop that link in the bio on TikTok so that you can find it. Because I'm definitely going to be working out some things there, because I know it's so many women that are hurting for community and need, you know, love. And I am love. And so are you. All right. So with that, thank y'all for joining me and hanging out with me. Nefertiti Holistics, I'm gonna look out for your message. Thank you for hanging out with me. I appreciate y'all. Like I said, I'll probably be back on TikTok tomorrow. I might come back on tomorrow and do a sale, because I don't know if y'all know, but I make energy infused jewelry like these. So I make energy infused jewelry, and I also have a chakra self-care kit that is fire, that I am looking for people to grab hold of, you know, because I really want some good reviews on it. So I'm super, super excited for that. So I'll probably come on tomorrow and do that. Because tomorrow's the, what, 31st? Okay, yeah. All right. So anyway, thank y'all. Have a wonderful rest of your night, evening, day, whatever this is that you're watching. And if you want to check it out again, it'll probably be on my YouTube channel once after I get off of this live, so I can post it there. Because I don't think you can watch replays on TikTok. I need to look that up and see, but the last time I looked, I don't think you could. I think I could watch it again, but I'm not sure if I can share it so that other people can watch it. I haven't checked that out yet. But anyway, it's on my list of shit to do. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye now.